Right at this exact second, while we're kicking off this explainer, there's a literal massive web of human-made machinery just whipping around the globe at 17,500 miles per hour. I mean, we're currently tracking over 8,000 active satellites in low Earth orbit alone. That is a staggering amount of space traffic, right? And it's fundamentally rewiring how we interact with the cosmos. We are way, way past the experimental mid-20th century space race days. So, welcome. Today, we're unpacking the reality of modern aerospace. We're going to look at the sheer volume of stuff up there, the crazy unprecedented turnaround times, and the engineering breakthroughs that are quite literally reshaping the orbital economy right above our atmosphere.
Okay, let's dive into this. Our core thesis for today is right here. Today, SpaceX dominates commercial launches and continues pushing the limits of innovation. And, to really grasp the weight of that statement, we have to look at the raw numbers. SpaceX isn't just a player in the modern space race. They are responsible for moving nearly 80% of all payload mass from Earth to orbit globally. 80%! It's basically an infrastructural monopoly, and it's built entirely on the back of reliable, reusable hardware. This absolute dominance in hauling mass to space is the foundation we'll be analyzing as we figure out how this reality is actively shaping global communications, defense, and the future of human exploration.
Section 1. The ascent begins. Let's take a look at the reality of modern exploration. That vantage point, seeing Earth from space, it carries massive logistical implications. Low Earth orbit isn't just some empty void anymore. It is transformed into a highly trafficked superhighway. We're now looking at this orbital shell as an absolutely crucial extension of our global infrastructure. Actually, operating in this environment requires ridiculously precise engineering and some really rigorous orbital mechanics. But putting assets in this ultimate vantage point, it gives us this totally unprecedented capability for Earth observation, ubiquitous high-speed internet, and crucially, a stepping stone for deeper planetary missions.
Moving on to Section 2, Commercial Launch Dominance. Let's examine the logistics of space.
Now, the baseline definition of commercial launches is pretty straightforward: privately driven, worldwide aerospace missions. But navigating this industry requires understanding an immense layer of operational complexity. Leading in this sector is fundamentally about supply chain logistics and turnaround timelines. We're talking about the ability to land a first-stage booster, pack it up, inspect it, refurbish it, and have it sitting on the pad ready to fly again in a matter of days, not the months or years that legacy aerospace programs used to take. And this mastery of reuse is exactly why the cost to get a kilogram to low Earth orbit has plummeted. It went from roughly $20,000 during the space shuttle era down to under $3,000 today. That is a real game changer.
And the cadence of these operations is it's truly mind-boggling. We're witnessing launches happening every 2 to 3 days. To keep that kind of rhythm going, you have to manage simultaneous operations at launch pads across Cape Canaveral, Vandenberg, and Boca Chica. A rocket launch just isn't treated as this bespoke, once-in-a-generation event that halts the nation anymore. Today, it's operated with the cold, calculated efficiency of commercial airline scheduling. This continuous, relentless drumbeat of worldwide launches is the physical proof of total logistical dominance.
Which brings us to Section 3, Pushing Innovation's Limits. Let's look at the future of innovation.
The rapid technological evolution we're seeing right now is driven by a few key interlocking components. First, the standardization of worldwide rocket launches gives us reliable transport. Then, orbital satellite deployment maximizes that transport through rideshare programs and specialized deployment mechanisms. This lets dozens of individual payloads get released with absolute pinpoint accuracy right into their designated trajectories. And finally, we have these major tech advancements that are completely redefining what's possible. Think about the shift to deep cryogenic liquid methane engines. They burn cleaner, and they actually allow for in-situ resource utilization on future Mars missions. We're even seeing the development of launch tower infrastructure that's designed to literally catch returning super heavy boosters right out of the air using massive mechanical arms. It's a level of rapid, iterative hardware development that traditional aerospace folks previously thought was impossible.
And there's this fascinating, deeply causal relationship between having commercial dominance on Earth and pushing technological limits in space. The immediate, reliable revenue that comes from a steady cadence of commercial launches, plus the capital generated by an operational satellite internet constellation, creates this massive, self-sustaining funding loop. Essentially, this Earth-based business directly bankrolls the high-risk, incredibly capital-intensive research and development you need for future innovation. Simply put, you just cannot have the visionary technology without the reliable freight business footing the bill.
All right, Section 4, The View from Orbit, Our Arrival in Space. You see, actually deploying satellites into orbit introduces an entirely new set of operational headaches. Once that hardware leaves the launch vehicle, managing thousands of active satellites requires software dominance just as much as hardware capability. These assets are out there utilizing autonomous collision avoidance systems, relying on insanely complex algorithms and onboard argon or krypton thrusters to continuously adjust their trajectories and dodge space debris. A successful orbital deployment? That's really just step one. Maintaining a highly functional, collision-free mega-constellation in the harsh, unforgiving vacuum of space is a relentless 24/7 engineering triumph.
So, it all leads to this. If these are today's limits of innovation, what will tomorrow's ascent look like? It's a question that really forces us to reevaluate our timeline as a species. The boundaries of commercial spaceflight have expanded way past simple orbital delivery, straight into the very real pursuit of multiplanetary infrastructure. As the cost to reach orbit continues to absolutely plummet and payload capacities expand into the hundreds of tons, the tools required to build permanent human settlements beyond Earth are currently being forged, literally as we speak. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep analyzing the data, stay curious, and I'll see you next time.